let's unbox this. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is nearly 11 p.m. on technically Wednesday night, June 4th, and we have our Nintendo Switch 2 alongside some accessories in attendance. The pickup process for midnight pickup here at Best Buy, in this case for the pre-orders, worked out pretty seemingly simple. They had two lines. They had a pre-order line. They had a you can buy it tonight sort of line, and it was open up here at 9 p.m. at least Pacific Standard here in California, whereas in East Coast they were doing it obviously like midnight launch, so that it was universal across the board. And here we have it. I was in that pre-order line, so again, it was kind of like you were guaranteed something. You just kind of had to wait. We got in line right before 9 and got out right about 10:30, give or take. So about an hour and a half of waiting. Once you got in, at least for our Best Buy, there was like two separate lines, again, for the pre-orders and non-pre-orders. And then the non-pre-order line had a bunch of bins, because like the whole store wasn't open, where they had a bunch of accessories and other stuff you can get. Not a ton of games at launch. I actually didn't even see the games. There was like a checklist item at the front that showed all of what they had like available in store for you to get. But I only picked up, again, two accessories in this case, one of which I pre-ordered, which was that Pro Controller. But after all that time, and now money, here we have... Oh, I'm opening it. I think everything's going to fall out the way I'm opening it. I'm opening it backwards. The Nintendo Switch 2, in particular, the Mario Kart World bundle. So this is the OG bundle that you could get, and as you can see, open it backwards here. Here you have two included Joy-Cons, the Switch itself in all of its glory, and that does feel pretty hefty. And I'd argue decently heavy, like definitely heavier than the Switch 1. Gonna remove both Joy-Cons. Let's get through all the accessories in a bit in the main part, but let's just go through anything else here. You have your standard, what I'm assuming is... bummer. So this is the Mario Kart bundle, so you just get it on a video game scratch code, no physical copy. So I was really hoping I would get the physical copy because I wanted just to have one of those Switch 2 cartridges. You get a ultra high speed, high quality HDMI cable. You get your little Joy-Con bumpers here. So you get a red one here. And I'm assuming, yeah, there it is. Blue one to match. But yeah, bummer. I was hoping you would just get like the actual physical Mario Kart game, but I'm indeed wrong, which means gotta get some Switch 2 game eventually. And here you have the Joy-Con grip, I guess is what you would call it. Here's a Switch 2 like grip, and it is different. I believe this will not work with obviously the Switch 1 Joy-Cons because of how they connect. You can even see those little tabs in there for the little magnetic connection. You can even see the plus and minus sign to make it easy. So in this case, I don't think you don't like slide in like the originals. I literally think you literally just click them in, which we'll take a look at in a second. Outside of that, I'm assuming it's just charger. So here it is, charger. Again, this is just the USB-C, but the specific Nintendo branded USB-C one, which obviously they're going to charge upcharge on. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, for the docked experience here, we have the new Switch 2 dock. And I'm going to just put everything in here. That way I can get the box out the way because it's kind of taking up a lot of room right now. Close this up. And again, the overall process, super orderly, smoothly. I do wish like they had a little bit more of a section to make it easier for like anybody, whether you're getting a pre-order or not, to see all like the accessories and stuff. But I get it, like there's like a lot of stuff going on. Okay, so I'm gonna set aside the paperwork and the Mario Kart download so that we can look at the main accessories here in the Switch 2 itself. So let's go ahead and get this out of the bag in this case. Like I said, this is much heftier in my opinion than the Switch 1. We're gonna get our first kind of fingerprints on it, but you have this nice kind of not gloss but like almost like a matte finish here, and you have a very durable hinge here that you can see so that you can just kind of use that kind of kickstand there. Feels super solid. Again, very akin to like the standard Switch, but obviously a different design on this one. And you can see you can go nearly flat down, not quite, obviously gives you an angle. So you can look up on it and then just close it down. You have your USB-C charging port, your speakers on the bottom here. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it, standard kind of stuff. On the top half, you have the new game card, or not new, but yeah, technically new, game card slot for the new Switch 2 games. And then, I was trying to look for where it's at. Where is this new micro SD, whatever they're calling it, slot? Oh, there it is. The micro SD Express slot is right there. So you can see it right there at the bottom. It is the new, like, even though it looks like micro SD, it's like a new format for like high-end cameras and whatnot. Otherwise, you have the Joy-Con symbols there on the right and left as well, so that detail with the coloring and the plus sign. You can see the Nintendo logo tucked away in there. And again, sorry, on the top you have some vents, you have the power button, the volume, and what looks like an additional, was that USB-C port and audio jack. I'm assuming that's also for like accessories and whatnot. Awesome. And then with that, let's go ahead and get the Joy-Cons out and get these in. So here you have right Joy-Con, the red one. Feels solid. Again, feel very akin to a standard Joy-Con. Triggers feel good. That click to them. You can hear that. That's the L button, the ZL. Have different kind of feedbacks to them. Otherwise, again, the same kind of design. Now you have this tracking feature where you can quite literally use it like a mouse. And we're going to have to see how that plays out in actuality. But what I want to see here is the connection process. I can already feel the magnets here, like just getting in close. Or actually, maybe I'm lying to myself. Oh, there you go, yeah. So that just kind of snaps in, like so. And if you want to pull it off, is it just as simple as yanking it off? I feel like that feels wrong, but is that how it's supposed to be? Because is it no longer a button? Oh no, there is a button here, so there's a little button that releases it, yeah. So that button, and then you just pull off. So if you want to hear that satisfying kind of click, that is how you release it and connect it nowadays. So pretty simple. Like I can do this with one hand. I don't know if you can hear me, but I can do that with one hand. Same thing on the other side. Just pull it off. And it connects. And it's pretty snug, super secure. And here you have the first look at the Switch 2 in all of its glory. Very kind of, you know, blacked out with that pop of color. So they went for a more muted look versus that bright tones. But I'm actually a fan of it. And look at that screen size in all its glory. I'm going to go ahead and grab a Switch 1 here so we can kind of compare it. So here we have one of my Switches, the original Switch, in this kind of third-party case here. And then for reference, we also have a Switch Lite. So here's that Zelda Switch Lite, very dusty because I haven't used it in a while. But you can see the Switch Lite literally fits within the new screen of the Switch 2. Like if you took off the Joy-Cons, it's basically the size of an entire Switch Lite. So just for comparison's sake there, you can kind of see what that looks like across the board. And then for comparison's sake here, we also have a Steam Deck, which is kind of the, you know, more popular PC gaming handheld here. And you can see this definitely dwarfs it in terms of like size. It's just like substantially bigger, but in terms of screen size, they're nearly on par. I think the Switch 2 is actually definitely bigger in this case, and then the Joy-Cons are obviously smaller. And then just for sake of it, we also have a PlayStation Portal, which if you want to see what that looks like in comparison, another device that's pretty much mostly all screen, given that it's just more of a remote player, almost on par there with the Switch 2. So obviously not as heavy and as robust because it's not as you know, it doesn't have a ton of components in it, just a screen with the controllers attached. It is probably more akin to the Switch 2. So if you're looking at form factor wise, that's probably the footprint, at least, is pretty much on par. You can see it, like if I lay it over, it just barely covers or barely pokes out in terms of just being top down. Whereas the Switch 1, you can see the difference here. If I stack the Switch 1 on top, and then if we stack the Steam Deck, that easily kind of dwarfs it there. And then with that, let's go ahead and get some of the accessories out. These are pretty self-explanatory. You just saw these, so these are the new Joy-Cons. You'll note that the bumpers here do have this kind of like feet or pads on the bottom, and that's because you would use the mouse like that if you're using it in this mode. So I imagine it's more suitable if you're using it in that way. Technically, you can still use it like this because it does have feet here, but like you would essentially just go like this and put these on. But you would be doing this if you're using it obviously independent, not connected to the Switch, and it just snaps on like that, looks like that, and that kind of puts it in. I don't even know if they're calling it. Are they calling it mouse mode or tracking mode or whatever? Looks like there's a little button that I'm assuming is to technically release it, but I was able to just kind of pull it off there. But yeah, it just kind of snaps on. Bottom first, and then I'm assuming that would be to release it. Yeah, usually it's like a little push tab, but I was able to just pull it off the first time, but now it looks pretty on there, pretty snug. So I don't know what the proper way to disengage this is. Let's see, is it like a little finagling and finesse? Is it not that button? I feel like there should be a button, but it's not. Oh, no, okay. Well, that snapped off. But the accessory I did want to show, because I think it's worth unboxing here, so you can see it, is going to be the Switch Pro controller. And I'm going to go ahead and do that while I boot up my Switch 2 here. So we're going to hit the power button, let that do its thing. And as it boots, I'm going to go ahead and unbox this. I was going to get these Pro controllers anyway, and the new Switch 2 Pro controller has a new look to it. Has a playing little audio here. Let me just go ahead and get this open before we go through that whole setup process. I also realized I did not show the new dock, so I want to show that as well. So it's playing a little bit of intro music in the background there. Hopefully that's not... Knowing Nintendo, I feel like that might somehow be copyrighted or something. Or I'll get a flag. Here is the new Switch 2 dock before I forget. So it has this kind of curved edge to it, a rounded edge, and then you have major vents on the bottom here to really kind of help expel heat in all the components. And then you have this compartment which showcases all of the stuff inside. So you have like your standard HDMI ports, AC adapter, and Ethernet or LAN, which is nice that they kept it in for like people who want a more reliable connection in gaming, stuff like that, or competitive gaming. And it just slots in like so, and it would look like this in the box, or sorry, in the dock, I should say. Switch 2. So we're gonna leave that sitting there really quickly and go through the last accessory that we have here for the night, so I can get this plugged in and start downloading Mario Kart World. Completely mauled some of the box there. Okay, so we'll open this up. Like I said, I'm a big fan of these controllers. I was going to get one eventually anyway, so I figured might as well pre-order it. And it was just ready for pickup. And here we have it. Super simple USB-C to USB-A cable for charging in the dock, I assume. And here it is, Pro Controller. Black and gray this time. Kind of like an off-white that they went with is the notable difference. You'll notice they do just switch 2 for the logo. Feels solid. Oh, analog sticks kind of have like a soft bumper to them, but kind of like that. It's like more of a soft, rubbery feel when you hit the edges around the kind of gate. And then notably, you have now trigger buttons on the inside there. So like very popular with like other controllers. So you have those now that you can kind of map to different things. And as always, I think ergonomics-wise, like this controller just fits well and feels well. So there it is, Switch 2 Pro controller. All right. Outside of that, it really is just down to me setting up my Switch 2 now at this point. Just going through the process of going through all the fun stuff and getting my account connected and getting connected to the internet, which I'm definitely going to want to do here. And then as with all things now, you're hit with an update right out the gate. So, yeah, there you have it. I mean, at this point, I'm really just going to let it update, throw some games on it, and then get playing. But, I mean, here we have the Switch 2 in all of its glory. All right, brief camera glitch there. But, yeah, I mean, at this point, it's unboxed, it's set up, it's getting set up. And then I think the only thing left to do is actually play it and start to get a hang of it, see how it feels in handheld, see how it plays docked, all that good stuff, and take advantage of like a lot of the new updates. So they have a lot of like digital releases for updates to existing games to kind of unlock the new frame rate and take advantage of the new hardware. But yeah, overall, painless pre-order process other than the whole getting the pre-order in the first place and then, waiting in line for a little bit. But ultimately, Best Buy, in my opinion, did a solid job with this. I think the layout could have been a little bit better in store, but nonetheless, we walked out with what we need, and everything else that I want to look at or get, like the accessories, will be available tomorrow in store and in the future. But there we have it, gamers. It is official. The Switch 2, after all this time. What is it now? How many years now since this console originally came out? And, for the most part, they kept the same formula. And if it's not broke, I guess, don't change it too much. But here we have the next iteration of what will be Nintendo's flagship console. And only time will tell if the successor to the very, very popular Switch will be more Wii U or will kind of stand out and, go to bat for its own. So, as always, gamers, I hope you enjoyed. There's going to be a lot more Switch 2 content to come, and definitely some insights and a further review after I've actually spent time with it. It's 11 o'clock now, so I got to get going so I can enjoy this thing. Thanks always for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.